Alright, so today I want to talk about the art of Corpse Bride. Corpse Bride was made in 2005. By the way, it's exactly my age since I was born in 2005. It's a stop-motion animated gothic fantasy film directed by Tim Burton. So, if you watch the movie, you notice that Corpse Bride has this beautiful melancholy to it, this beautiful sadness, and this is a lot of it is conveyed not throughout only artistry and colors, but with sounds, with everything, with the story, lore, stuff like that. But I am an artist, and this is what I have expertise in. And this is what I'm gonna talk about. So the Underworld world is more saturated, but with toxic colors, indicating the fact that it's just an escape, not an ideal that is healthy, just a temporary form of escapism for Victor. And the most apparent thing about this is that the real world, the alive world, is very desaturated and bleak. Even the colors are washed out, let's say. If taken individually, even the brightest and most colorful colors in the actual world are very desaturated, even the reds. So this scene, when Victor wakes up from him passing out and he wakes up in the underworld, we can see it immediately that it's very colorful, but these colors are very, very, very saturated and bright, but they are toxic colors. So it's like, imagine like Maleficent, let's say. She has purple, black, and green, for example. Those are toxic colors. Imagine like a poison frog, with the bright green, purple, blues. That's what this is. It's basically working on the nature of people to assume that something that's like with those colors is uncanny or bad, toxic, which it's exactly what the other world is. It's an escape. It's not something healthy. It's toxic. Take these two examples. So we have this one from the real world, the living world, and this is from the underworld, right when he wakes up. So look, just by looking at it, you can tell that the saturation is way more. Everything is way more saturated. Everything is way brighter. There's way more color. But look, now if we switch to this one, everything is desaturated. Everything is in this range, while in the underworld everything is in this range. Even if we look at this, the colors are very greenish and pale bluish. So again, these also they symbolize basically depression, solitude, stuff like that. And look, these colors are the actual, they're the stereotype of toxic. So look at this, it's like very bright violets. Look at these light sources. So we have a light source that is this color coming from here, hitting him there. We have a blue light source from above hitting them there and there, you see. And then we have a green light source right here. So notice these colors. So they're all toxic, basically. They're all negative. This helps the audience basically correlate this as an escape. This is not somewhere to feel safe in. Look, even the blues, they're not like these palish, depressed blues. They're like this toxic, kind of like poison dart frog, toxic blues, And now we have this I don't know what to call it. It's like a framing color. As an artist, I usually do this when I want to tell shape. So look, it basically silhouettes it. It makes the figure pop out even more, because look at this contrast. This is 100% light. This is 100% dark. So look, this is like a framing kind of light. Alright, so this is the kind of light that they would have in real life. I have a green light over there, blue light there, neutral from outside there, red from there, and pink from here. All toxic colors and negative colors. And as you can see, this is very effective. How they would do it, I am assuming that it was some kind of filter on a basic flashlight. Today we have these kinds of things, these LED stuff. This is very effective for it. But there are lots of ways. Just in my room, I have these kinds of stuff to use for this kind of lighting. So imagine somebody like Tim Burton, what kind of resources they have. And everything that you see shot in the actual movie everything is real life. So they were pointing actual lights, actual flashlights to create those effects. Just adds on the brilliance of Tim Burton and all of the stuff that even the lore, even everything is brilliant. And I cannot give him enough praise. Alright, so I cannot help but point this out. When I asked ChatGPT, he said, or it said, that it had no correlation, but I am Romanian, if you haven't noticed by the accent and by the things surrounding me. I'm Romanian. In our school system, we get like funneled this like a literary genius from our country. His name is Mihai Eminescu, and his most important story is Morning Star. It's Luceafărul. And Morning Star is basically about an otherworldly being that loves a mundane girl called Catalina, but Catalina loves Cătălin. And like there are like these parallels between like the mundane. Basically, they both have the same names, which is like a symbol how they are mundane, they are shallow, kind of like that. I don't know how to emphasize it, but you get what I mean. And now that I have laid it out for you in this kind of way, you notice where the similarities come with Victor and Victoria, Cătălin and Catalina. You also have Hyperion and Emily. They're both like really bright and blue, basically. Hyperion is also like a corpse, cold. It's not that he's uncaring, but he's from a different world. It's not the same relatability, and I think that it speaks mountains about how two brilliant artists came to the same kind of like story without any correlation between each other, and without any of those correlations between each other, like they haven't, like, I'm sure Tim Burton is not Romanian, he doesn't know who that is, but they came to the same conclusions because two geniuses, two minds of alike, they come to the same conclusions because this is like a metaphor, like fiction is a metaphor for reality, basically. And reality is kind of like formulaic. And of course they come to the same conclusions, how people from different worlds cannot have enough common ground to basically form a healthy relationship between each other. So you have to have similarities, places where they interlink with each other. And it's very beautifully said in Luceafărul and in here, in Corpse Bride. Just a few things are changed. From heaven, it's Underworld, stuff like that, but it's very beautiful, and I just wanted to point that out since it would be like a nice side note to these, like, Alright, so let's talk about the actual complementary colors and how they harmonize. So I have made a few colors, I have picked a few colors. This I just saturated it more to get that, look. I have that there, so look, you have that. And it's basically the colors, I color picked them with that sole exception, I just made it more saturated. And look, now let's look. This is almost a perfect line across. So it's almost perfect line across on that circle. That's a complementary color. It's not exact, but this is what I like. I had a video that I made before that it's, look, it's almost perfect, but in reality stuff is it's on a spectrum. So if you're talking complementary, this spectrum is complementary to this spectrum, okay? So you cannot make it one-to-one. Let's look at this color now in relation with these colors. So if you notice, we have kind of this triangle thingy going on. And now let's look. So we have these complementary, split complementary, analogous, triadic, and tetradic. So if we go to here, let's try to find it. Let's try to find it together. So we have triadic. Let's try to find it in any kind of way. So look, we just found it. So there it is. So this is a triadic. This is a triadic color complementary with the blue. This kind of violet. And now let's find the green. The green is pretty straightforward. Complementary with the reddish pinkish color. It's an exact complementary with the spectrum. So look, let me put complementary and let me make this brighter. Okay, now let's look at it. So it's not an exact complementary. I was wrong. So let's try to look at it split complementary. Maybe that's it. So split complementary, it's there. Now let's look at the hue difference. We found our match. So this is, so we have, let me write this down. So this is split, that's complementary. And what was the other one? I think it was triadic. Yep, and this is triadic. Now look at this. Do you realize that this is, everything here is intentional? Everything here is intentional. I cannot, I ran out of space, but still, it's intentional. This is very important because you have to be methodical and intentional with what colors you pick. These two colors, the green and the blue, they're tetradic. So tetradic color harmony. Look. And so we have triadic, tetradic, split, and complementary. So this is what basically people talk about when they brag about color theory. This is what they brag about. Hold on, because I keep messing up the actual name. Tetradic. So this is tetradic. So look, every kind of complementary, we have it here, if you notice. Analogous, we don't have analogous, I think, but that's happens just because of the spectrum. Now I know many of y'all will be like, what do you mean this is like almost the same color? So look at this. It's this much difference. I know that, look, this is more saturated and this is less saturated. Let's put it at the same saturation next to each other. You see? So this was a big mistake that I saturated this, but this is usually what I do. I just saturated them a lot because it's easier to tell which one is which, you know, when you get the color wheels together. When you saturate them a lot, it's way easier, you know. So don't mind what I did. I'm sorry if I confused you. All right, so now I have given you an explanation, not so very brief explanation, about the technicalities of color harmonies and picking colors. Now I will give you a demonstration of something that I did, basically an explanation, because I cannot do this, I have to make like a 30-minute video of just me drawing and explaining stuff. I will show you a drawing that I did, and believe it or not, it was inspired by old artists like Van Gogh and a lot of pointillist artists that I forgot their name, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have such a good memory. But I'm gonna show you stuff from that explanation, and I'm gonna put it into a context that helps you artistically in every drawing and any kind of art that you make, and I hope this helps you. This, even though you may not think that this is very technically advanced, this is my most technically advanced color picked drawing. So if you look at this, this has like, it's I don't know, I was just brilliant for a day and I made it. Basically what I did is I created, if you look at this, right? Let's look at the time lapse and I will explain how I did this, because it's kind of weird, I'm gonna be honest. So I have this, that part, initial part, I just put it there. This here is a lot of analogous colors. So if you look, right above the head is a lot of analogous colors, and then it shifts. So what I did is, hold on, I just took colors and I just did this basically. And I did that, then I did that, then I went like that, I desaturated it, and then I resaturated it. as I got closer to those colors. And then what I did on top of it is I added an exact opposite of these colors. So a complementary color to these colors so that it makes it pop out. This is a pointillism technique. Everything here is thought out. Of course, Van Gogh did this before. He did this hard work and he put it on my paper basically, and I just studied what he did and I learned. This was the drawing I made. That this is literal, the literal Van Gogh colors. These are the literal Van Gogh colors. So this is just me copying the master. And this was my test run. This is where I practiced what I did in that drawing that was so advanced. And I know many of y'all don't look at it and don't think that it's that advanced. You just have to trust me. Maybe you see this is wrong. This is all wrong. These proportions, this facial proportion, it's wrong. But this is not what I care about. I have to take a subject and I have this process right here, and if this is coloring, I cannot focus on this to get incredible results. I have to take the coloring out and to learn this and to make this basically this into this. This is the whole process, right? And I had to basically dissect this process, so I cannot focus on proportions when I learn colors. I have to separate them. The same for brushwork, for everything. This is where I tried to work this technique. This is the actual Van Gogh. I flipped the hue to where I could make this, where it gave me like these colors, kind of like that. And this is where I worked. By the way, this isn't color, I didn't color pick here. On that drawing, I just did it, I just eyeballed it. This is just for show, so I just needed something to look at so that I have like a grasp, basically like a hook. Imagine like I'm a climber and I have like this really good grip, and I need a grip, and then I search, and then I get another grip, and then I let go of it, you know? This is the actual masterpiece. This is Van Gogh mastering color. So look at this. This turquoise is complementary. So let's look at it with this orange. So what does Van Gogh do here is he adds, and he doesn't add like this. Van Gogh basically does this. You see how much color variation. So you look at it. You cannot just add one color like a troglodyte. You have to make it make variations in it, you know? So you have to add a lot of variation to it, whether it be in saturation, in hue, in a lot of stuff. You have to add variation to it, you know? And then after he does that, he goes for the complementary color and just daps it. Just daps it like that. And what that does is that makes it more vibrant. So what does this have to do with Corpse Bride? What I just taught you is that if I have a color and then I have a complementary color right next to it, it makes the both of them more bright and more flashy, basically. This is something that pointillists learned and discovered. So with that in mind, I want you to look at this. So look at it. This blue, if we make it, if we dissect it, it's very desaturated. Let's put it next to, let's say, look, this blue is saturated, like objectively very saturated. But now this matters very, very much. So look, we have this blue. Now let's say I take this blue and I just add a lot of other blues that are way less saturated than it. You see? Now this blue is very saturated because color doesn't exist in a vacuum. Color exists in a space, basically. You cannot have one color alone. And now we have this. Now let's add a complementary color, even if it's desaturated. Do you see how much it stands out? Do you see how vibrant the both colors are in this scenario? So even if we don't saturate them a lot, look how much further I have to go to like have a lot of saturation, but I don't have to go that far because colors don't exist in a vacuum. That's what I want to teach you. And whilst all of this is done by hand for the case of Tim Burton, and by nature, because if he just points a light towards it, the nature is gonna do his job. He just has to figure out the complementaries. We are artists. We do not have that luxury. So you have yourself. You have to do it yourself. You have to figure out the complementaries. You have to add the small bits of color that makes it more vibrant. You have to be creative. You have to do this by hand. Basically, this is what I am teaching you. You have to learn how to do this. You cannot just randomly dash in colors there. You have to be methodical about it. You have to change the color that you use. So do not marry just one single color. You have to add lots of them, lots of different colors. So look, and now I just look how much visual interest there is there because I added so many colors. Now let's add something else. Let's add a split complementary color right there. And even if we desaturate it, it will read as red because it gets pulled towards everything. This is another subject. I will explain it briefly. If I want to reach blue from red, I have to go through the grays. So this just gets desaturated and this is how it reads. So it reads as it belongs to this because I desaturated and it simulates the real life phenomenon of the environment changing how the colors look. This is a really good exercise that I would suggest everyone partakes in because this is very good for you to learn how to manage your colors. So just go wild, just learn how to use these colors, and if you learn how to use colors like this, then you will have great success. You will have great success. And look how much, blur your vision for a bit or squint your eyes. Look how much this and this pops out. So contrast is very important even in colors. Of course, we have here the edge. So the edges are way more contrasted. Here it's way more flat. So flat and busy. So this is contrast. So this is going to draw eyes as well. But this is another subject that I will leave for another day. Right now we're talking colors. So look at that. Now let's look here. If we color pick, let's go to her face, right? We color pick. So the color doesn't stay put, if you notice. It shifts, even in hue. Even here it shifts. Look, I can pick this right there. Look how purple that is. Look how deep that purple is. This, of course, he did it himself by hand a bit, but this is something that naturally happens in real life. So this is something that is quite normal. Real life simulates this, but you as an artist, you have to be methodical and to think about it. So look, I will just pick this from this cork. Look how many different color variation is in there. This is that exercise. Now let's go crazy. Now let's go and let's put complete. No. Let's go with 25%. So 75 right there. And now let's desaturate it. Now we mask and now we add dabs of it. So look how this reads like it belongs. Why? Because I passed it through the grays like it would do in real life. So that's basically what I did. And now look how bright these colors are. Just because I added a bit more interest. This is exactly what Van Gogh taught me. And look at this. Now, I'm telling you this, only me and a few other people can appreciate this kind of work. You will not be appreciated, but this is subconscious. People will realize true mastery when they see it. So do not strive to be just good enough. strive to be the best. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. Take care and have a nice day.